You know, I've got a feeling someone will think I'm doing this on purpose. And really it's just a bunch of games that come up that I end up recording in a sequence. Being black and in America is a different experience than, well, every other video game character. Of course there's a bit of a difference. That's the nature of the beast. However, video games never really represent that. And I think the most apparent version of that would be Watch Dogs 2, a video game that I genuinely think is one of the better games of the past generation. You play as Marcus Holloway, a young black man who is suspected of doing a crime, not because of evidence, not because of anything solid, concrete, that is sustainable in a court of law, but because of a predictive algorithm in his city of San Francisco. You know, one of the more diverse cities. Well, diverse if you want. Hipster. The very first mission in the game, you are tasked with breaking and entering into a big server farm by the Golden Gate Bridge. And, well, it is kind of just purging his record of any crime, because this predictive algorithm determines so much of your life based on, well, predictive algorithms. You know, that thing that led to you not getting notified that this video was uploaded. Okay, yes, I will state it here. His character and the character of many of those in the game are not entirely fleshed out. They're not entirely on point with who they would be in the real world, but they are fun. Yes, Marcus is the typical video game character and thus reacts as such. In cutscenes he does this thing, out of cutscenes, well, he's controlled by this dickhead. Generally, if you play Watch Dogs 2 just how you would play any other game, it is a bit bland. There is nothing really there to provide you the tools to do something else in a video game that you can't already do elsewhere. Okay, that's a bit of a lie, but I'll get to that in a minute. Most games have this thing where you can go in stealthily, or you can go in with guns blazing and so on and so forth. It's become part of video game makeup in the last 10 years. All because of Ubisoft. Now, that's because Ubisoft made a fantastic game in Far Cry 3. I genuinely think Far Cry 3 is one of the best games of the last decade. Yet, Watch Dogs 2 seems to be that next step. It is every single Ubisoft game melted into one. Okay, maybe it doesn't have talking pigs, such as Beyond Good and Evil, but it does have all the typical stealth mechanics, all the typical run and gun mechanics. It is open world, it's this, it's that, it's the next thing. And of course there's a bit of political tongue-in-cheek discourse that Ubisoft will happily tell you is not political, even though, you know, it's talking about politicians and poking fun at one very big one. Yes, Watch Dogs 2 might be a bit bland on the video game makeup. It has not done anything new with the process. It's not revolutionized video games. However, it is very, very colorful. San Francisco itself is a beautiful example of how to make a city fun, how to make a city different, how to give the entire city in a game a different feel overall. It's one of those things that goes back to Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. There is different sections of the map that represent different parts of San Francisco, such as the hyper-rich tech sector of San Francisco, which has a faux SpaceX, a faux Google, a faux this, a faux that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it's Google and Facebook wrapped up into one, i.e. what Google thought Google Plus would do. How'd that work out for you? Anyway, the game is very colourful and fun and different in that respect. And that's what makes the entire game feel, well, fun overall. There is something there that is colourful, both personality-wise with characters in-game, and the whole city is another character, as you have actual people on the CTOS system, i.e. the system that has predictive algorithms, which led to Marcus being arrested in the first place. But the point is, the city has another feature to it that other games don't. Now, of course, someone could say, oh, but Watch Dogs 1 had that. Yes, but Watch Dogs 1 also had a massive arsehole in it called Aiden Pierce, who I would rather ram hammers up my ass than have to spend another minute with that man. And I have spent other minutes with that man outside of Watch Dogs 1. Cough, cough, spoiler of what one side mission does. I genuinely hate Watch Dogs 1, as I'm sure many of you do. It was a bland, dull, boring, any other synonym of those variants of words and such and things, and Jesus Christ, I've lost all thought. Anyway, yes, I hate Watch Dogs 1 as much as the next person. I don't like Chicago, I don't like Aiden Pierce, I don't think the game made anything of its full potential. Watch Dogs 2 is that potential. It is filling all the gaps that were missed. Okay, maybe not all of them, but it does fill quite a few of them, as the entire world does, with its colourful and distinctive character. Yes, some of the characters in-game are a bit painting the wall with every colour, but it's fun. I love Wrench, I love Marcus, I love Sitara, I love that other black character that, well, is just another black character and is nothing else. Horatio, that's his name. Yes, that's how much characterization he gets. I also love the little Johnny Five thing. Oh, there's a Johnny Five reference, and I love that. I love that. Los locos kick your ass, los locos kick your face, los locos kick your balls into outer space. yes, the game is a bit bland in some areas, such as the video game makeup. I've stated that already. I'll state that 1,000 times. It is not the perfect game. However, I miss colourful games. I miss that PS2 era where you could have colour, where you could enjoy a game instead of both being depressed and being told to be depressed. The PS3 era through most of the PS4 era has been dull, grey, brown, boring worlds. Watch Dogs 1 is a perfect example. Nonetheless, I enjoy... Okay, let's talk about a video game mechanic that I don't think many other games give you. In Watch Dogs 2, you can use a drone, connect to someone's phone, and tell the algorithm that you found a terrorist, or you found someone with unpaid parking tickets, or a whole plethora of other things. You can do all of this from a drone that you store up your arse TARDIS. It's one of those games. But with that, you also have a bit of a sneaky tactic that you can employ. You can throw out your arse TARDIS quadcopter, phone in the cops to arrest a gang member, and then suddenly ring a phone, which causes the person being apprehended to get distracted, as well as the police. The person being apprehended then attempts to run, the cops fire back, and thus you have an inter-gang cop thing going on. It's basically a war mechanic. You can create war on the streets of San Francisco with nothing but your arse TARDIS quadcopter and your mobile phone. I know, it's like you're Obama or something. Anyway, yes, it's one of those things that no other game does. But I don't think any other game would do it this way either. Because most of Watch Dogs 2 is a bit of a tongue-in-cheek story, if you can call it that, of, look, all these things that go on around you, but you don't really care. Yes, Facebook is stealing data. Yes, Google is doing all of this guff. The entire world of Watch Dogs 2 is a big mirror to reflect, hey, look, we're in a world that has all of this, but it's somehow weirder. We have Google doing many different weird and wonderful things that may be questionable if you look at them properly. We have Facebook selling data to things and such, and let's just ignore that. We have SpaceX, we have drones, we have all these tech arseholes in the middle of the tech capital of the world. We have Martin him, you know, that guy. And there's so much more. It's all fun because it's all tongue-in-cheek. It shows, hey, look, here's some pharmaceutical guy that paid money for an album by a very popular artist. I wonder who that could be. Cough, 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 cough. Error. Rebooting. There is so much I could honestly talk about for hours with Watch Dogs 2, but I'll end up repeating myself 12 times a minute just by saying it's really fun, it's really colourful, and it's fantastic. Yeah, maybe the characters are a bit painting all the colours with the rainbows and such, and they're bland, okay? They're not the most fleshed out, they're not the most in-depth characters. I know Wrench isn't the best in-depth character in the world, but he's fun, he's colourful, and there's a bit of background in one mission that gives him humanity. Marcus, well, he's just a bit dead behind the eyes. He's controlled by this arsehole who will do stupid things and hilarious things with the mass-murdering psychopath trait of, let's throw out an explosive, let's trigger an explosive with the phone, let's call in a gang, let's call in the cops as well, let's call in another gang, let's do this, let's do that, let's create a gang war across San Francisco. And it's hilarious. I mean, if that happened in real life, I'd be horrified, but the point is that it's in a video game and it's fun. It is really fun to watch a gang member fight as the cops try to arrest a naked man. Yes, you can do that. There is naked people in the game. There are naked people on a secret bit of a street, somewhere hidden behind buildings, that you can send in to places by slightly nudging them with tiny little cars, and then suddenly gang members have a fit, cops come in, all of it. It's brilliant. No other game has that fun experience where you can send in naked people to infiltrate the Asian gangs and the Mexican gangs and the other gangs and such and so on. I love it. I genuinely love Watch Dogs 2, and I can't help but express glee over it. I'll shut up now. I don't know what I'll be doing next week, but I assume someone thinks that it'll be something like stabbing dogs or something else that will upset the mass viewership of the internet. Alright, ta-ra! Now, go away now. I've got, naked people to shove into traffic.